Good morning. How you doing? This is Savant, your coach. This is a Forward the Culture. We have CEO talk today. Today I'm with the Executive Director of Resilient Coders, David Delmar. He's a graduate of Boston University. He started a coding boot camp that is diversifying tech. I'll let you introduce yourself.
David Delmar. I'm the founder and executive director of Resilient Coders.
All right. Well, as you know, I started a financial tech company called Forward. Forward stands for Financials Require Winners Discipline. So, what does discipline mean?
I think discipline is something that means something different to everybody. You just have to assess how much you really want something, how much you really care. And it's an ordering of those priorities and sticking to those priorities.
All right. Now, you're diversifying tech. As you know, it's like 2% of minorities are engineers, and you started a coding boot camp. What are skill sets that you see are needed for the future for us to go change our socioeconomic status?
Well, I think it's a whole matrix of different skills, and we could sit here and talk about the technical skills, but the technical skills aren't what get you the job and make you successful. They're just something that an employer needs to check off to make sure that you can do that. Ironically, we can't teach the skills that you really need to be successful. Those are the things that you just have to have, right? The sort of the grit, integrity, discipline. Those are the things that we look for when we're accepting people, because those are really the things that are going to get you hired. The technical skills are just kind of a dusting that we can provide.
How many people do you feel that y'all have helped so far? Like, how many cohorts have you had?
We're in our 6th cohort at the moment. And each cohort has had roughly 15-ish people.
All right. And what was the passion behind starting this program?
Well, there are a lot of reasons for which I started Resilient Coders. One of them is just the fact that I grew up in a Spanish-speaking home, and it was important to me to hear more Spanish being spoken in the tech community. Right. But the other one is that I knew I had relationships with a bunch of young men who were locked up.
Okay.
And I discovered in a whole group of these individuals all of those things that I mentioned earlier, all of those attributes that are really going to get you hired and make you successful. They had all of those things in spades, but they didn't have the opportunity.
Okay.
And in fact, the same things that can make you successful technologist can also make you can also lead you down the wrong path depending on a set of circumstances. Right. So the young men that I spoke to were they were aggressive, they were very creative, they were resourceful, and I discovered that there's sort of like this conventional thinking out there that when you find yourself going down the wrong path, it's sort of despite your intellect, right? Despite your ability to make rational choices. And I discovered that it was actually the reverse for a lot of these young men. It was because of their intellect, because of their ability and their propensity to make what they see to be the right choice given their perspective, that would land them in a detention facility. But the choices they were making were empirically correct based on that evidence. And so I set out to try to change some of those circumstances to provide an additional path to leverage that resourcefulness, those skills, that hunger, that talent into a more productive avenue that wasn't necessarily traditional education.
Right. Now, with a financial tech app, there's many people that feel they can't save. And I like the fact that even though you had individuals that may have started on the wrong path, they could change their route. So what are advice or tips you have for people how to make that change when it comes to their habits of bettering themselves?
I think it starts with education, right? And I don't necessarily mean like education in the college sense, but just trying to become educated about what it is that you're looking to do or get into. Whether that's getting into the habit of reading a newspaper, like a viable, real newspaper, or being educated on the stock market, or just getting perspective on what other people do. Just having conversations with folks to find out what were the strokes that they took to get to the point where they're at.
Yeah. Is there anything daily that you do, like you have to make sure that you do every day?
Actually, that's funny you should ask after that question, because I try to spend at least 30, if not 60 minutes a day educating myself on something.
Okay.
So I'm either reading something or listening to an educational podcast and taking notes on it.
All right. When it comes to personal finance, do you have any advice for people?
Yeah, I'm not like the most enlightened person in personal finance.
Right.
I kind of just I haven't been as diligent as I should be about it. But I've certainly saved.
Right.
I've been good at saving money in my day. And so that's really the only advice that I can give. That and educate yourself, because it could be that you get to a certain point where saving is no longer your best financial option. And at that point, you need to talk to someone who can provide more rigorous guidance.
Now, when it comes to saving, was it your parents that taught you that, or you just start on your own that I need to save? Is there like a certain percentage? Do you save in a bank account? Because many people in our community may not have bank accounts.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. I kind of did it and have done it sort of the old-fashioned way, right? Like I've actually never written for myself like a personal budget, which I definitely should have done. It's just in every micro small decision, just finding the cheaper way to do it. Right. So there's a time where I sort of knew what the different grocery stores near me, right? Which grocery stores sold the cheapest version of whatever.
Okay.
And so we would go grocery shopping at like 3 or 4 different stores, because this store had the $1.48 gallon of milk, and that other store had the chicken for whatever price. And so that's kind of what we did. It wasn't so much like personal budgeting as it was just like a very small daily decision.
All right. My last question I want to ask: what is your favorite quote that like inspires you every day?
There are so many. So one of them is I had the privilege of hearing Governor Deval Patrick speak, and he said, "Vision and leadership are a lethal combination." I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It was a vision and humility are a lethal combination for leadership. Vision and humility are a lethal combination for leadership. I've personally added a third to that, just for my own personal habits, and that's urgency. So vision, humility, and urgency are a lethal combination for leadership.
All right. Where can people find you if they want to get in contact with you?
Yeah, David at resilientcoders.org.
All right. Can you tell one last time what Resilient Coders is?
Yeah, Resilient Coders is it's a nonprofit coding bootcamp that gives young people early in the career, people of color, the skills that they need to be impossible to ignore by the tech community.
All right. Today it was a pleasure interviewing David Delmar, Executive Director of Resilient Coders. As I always say, remember to sit with the winners, because the conversation is different. Thank you.